Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NobCast, the football podcast with a difference and your favourite football podcast. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Gaskey. Hello, Gaskey.
Good evening, good evening.
How you doing?
Very well, how are you?
I'm doing bloody brilliantly
Good.
because City won 2 games in a row since the last podcast, but it's a shame that United couldn't quite return the favour in respect of taking some points off Arsenal. We will be talking about that huge game where Arsenal defeated Man United. Are they the real deal? Almost definitely. Are they going to win the title? Potentially. We'll talk about that. We'll also touch on Liverpool 0, Chelsea 0, and the contrast in the quality of the game compared to the Arsenal one. We'll also have a little chat about Mudryk. Everton have sacked Frank Lampard. That is official. What did you call that game, Gaskey, against West Ham?
The El Sakiko.
That's the one. David Moyes clinging on to his job for now. Everton are in trouble, especially if they get relegated. Who might they bring in to make that not happen? We'll also touch on City's games versus Wolves and Spurs. Does Haaland make Man City worse? No, he doesn't. But we'll be talking about that. I've got a good little mini game for Gaskey, which is about a higher or lower in terms of goals. We'll also be doing a main topic, which was a question from a viewer last week, but we thought it warranted its own section. We'll be doing a draft of a starting 11 of the big 6 teams, who's going to get the best team, and you guys decide who has the best team. Gaskey's in a bit of a chilled out mood this week, so nothing has ground his gears.
Quite mellow at the moment, quite mellow.
Indeed. We'll be getting questions. We've got a lot of good questions from the Nobbins, the sports on Patreon, so thank you so much for that. I think we've got 5 this week. In fact, so it's wonderful. Briefly talking about next week's games, but it's a little bit dry in terms of the upcoming fixtures. And of course, BallBusters, answers and clues for next week. But Gaskey, we've obviously got to start. Arsenal 3-2, Man United. This was a huge win for Arsenal. We are going to obviously talk about how brilliant Arsenal were and what it means for their season, but you are obviously a United fan, so let's start with it from a Manchester United perspective. How did you feel about the match going into it? Obviously, Casemiro not being available. How did you feel about the match in itself? And were you happy with the performance? Unhappy? Talk to me, Gaskey.
Going into it, I was a bit nervous because you're going up against a best team in the league at the moment, and also you're on a good run. How are you going to approach the game? And I was more than happy with how they approached it. First half, I thought very fair game. It was very similar to the City game in terms of both teams doing the same thing in a way. Rashford's goal was amazing. Equaliser again was frustrating because I do feel like Delo would stop that in a way. Obviously, you talk what ifs, but because Wan-Bissaka just kind of watched him edit in. And then it was the same as the City game in terms of they just lack the depth to keep doing what they're doing. Because, McTominay's crap, right? End of. He's rubbish.
Indeed.
He marks grass. He doesn't do anything.
And he doesn't even mark it very well.
No, he doesn't mark grass very well because it gets past him. And you can see that Ten Hag wants to play the same way for 90 minutes, which is great, but he doesn't have the depth because after the 70th minute, Arsenal just kept going and going and going and going. And even subbing Ben White off at half-time because he was clearly struggling with Rashford, that shows that you've got that depth. I can make a straight swap, whereas Ten Hag has that issue in a way because Shaw was struggling a bit with Saka. And okay, you take Shaw if you've been last year on, you've kind of got a similar issue, and you lose Shaw, who's obviously a better player. And last year's not quite ready yet. And you have to bring Fred on to kind of help you with that situation. And then after that, you don't really want to take Eriksen off because he's the only creative spark you still have on the pitch, just along with Bruno in midfield. He ended up having to do a defensive role, which is not what he wants to do. And that's where you do miss Casemiro to kind of see out them games, to kind of, you 2-2, let's just calm down. It just got into just a bit of a brawl at the end, and then, it was always going to be a scrappy goal. And I'm more disappointed. I don't know. I've seen online these people, moaning about it, saying, "Oh, Ten Hag got it wrong." What do you want him to do? I said, he's got a squad. United should not be in the top 4. No one predicted them to be or go on that run. I didn't predict it. I don't think anyone did. I think even you said, didn't you, in the summer that
6th.
no manager can fix United, where he's doing a pretty good job of it at the moment. So you just got to be patient. that says I think they've done very well. So disappointing result. I'm not angry about it or anything. It's just disappointing that they lost it that way. But I'm glad that they went toe to toe with them. They didn't sit back and take it away from home. They went for it. So yeah.
Don't worry, we are going to get onto how good Arsenal were if you're an Arsenal fan watching. Don't worry, but I just want to cover the United angle first. You just said then that you don't know what people wanted Ten Hag to do. I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate with you, Gaskey.
Yeah.
So, could I make the argument that Ten Hag was a little bit tactically naive? I understand he hasn't got Casemiro, but he opted to play Eriksen and McTominay in like the sort of midfield role with Fernandes ahead of them. Could you make the argument that maybe what he should have done was do what he did in the City game, where he played Fernandes on the right, he played Eriksen, in sort of like more number 10 role, and in the City game he had Casemiro, Fred. Why didn't Ten Hag just do McTominay, Fred, rather than Eriksen? Because for the second Saka, was the Saka goal the second goal? It was, wasn't it?
The shot, the second one.
Yeah. So for example, in that goal, Eriksen cannot deal with him. You said it yourself, and if that was like a Fred or even a McTominay, maybe that gets closed down better. So what do you say to that angle?
I see. My only argument there would be that City game was they went 1-0 down, and as soon as that happened, you put Bruno in midfield. So that did change. And obviously, I understand, you could say, yeah, you could have changed it, but they were playing well. The game, they were 2-1 up. They were 2-2. The game's 2-2, and at that point, that's me. Okay, that's where you could probably say, change it then. Change it straight away, kind of decide, or you know what's going to happen. That's where you could probably argue, okay, he was a bit slow in that regard. But in terms of who do you bring on, that's what I mean. Like, he brought Fred on. Who else to stop that? That's his only option he's got. I've seen people shout for, should have brought Ganacho on, and okay, yeah, that's enough. You said you have 7 people on the bench, or even 9. I can't remember if it might be 9 now, and that you name 2 players out of 9 players. So that's your problem. The only option you can bring on is Fred to kind of steady the ship. He's not going to steady the ship, is he? Let's be fair.
No.
So that's what they lacked. They're lacking that extra bit of depth to be able to react in games. Whereas he's limited resource in that regard, so it's just it's a patient process. He's made transfers. These transfers playing well. Like Martinez is fantastic. His goal was brilliant, and him and Varane are a great partnership. Shaw's playing really well. Delo when he's fit, he's better than Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's not been too bad. You can still tell he's a bit funny. And then you can just the players that he's inherited are the ones that kind of struggle a bit. So, people just seem to overreact. They've gone on a massive run and they've drawn and lost. Right? Don't say is he the right man. I've seen people even say that.
Yeah, that's mental.
I'm disappointed, but I'm glad that they're trying to play. They're not sitting back. Because in the past years, I've seen them play against Arsenal in the Emirates, and they just sit there and go, "Don't know how to stop this." And it's like, but this is the Arsenal, not the Arsenal this season. This is Arsenal last season, where they can be for the taking. So.
I've just got one more question on the United angle before we explore the goals and the Arsenal perspective. Maybe this is me being unfair. I don't normally like to judge players after one season or even half a season. Antony, is he good at football?
He is an iffy one. He is an iffy one because on that right hand side, he's good at. It's weird. I'm trying to how to word it.
Because I can't quite figure out what he does.
His final third shit. Don't get me wrong. His final third is awful. Like if you could cross the ball in, brilliant. But you can't even do that. And he's. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or he's just the easy option he chooses. But what he does do is he's good at tracking back, helping build play up. But then that final third just seems to be he's just naff, and that's what he needs to improve on. But I say it with every player. I'm not one to even rival players to go give it. I'm always one. Just give it time. Just see once Ten Hag's had a full season and he's had time and he's got you need more than one transfer window. I think it was Henry that said this is 6 months in Ten Hag's reign against 3 years of Arteta. That's 3 transfer windows of getting rid of players and bringing players in. Just see what happens when he's got a team that you can say I'm happy with in a way. and then see if he doesn't stand out. Then if he doesn't, then it's like, yeah, he's just not good enough.
Yeah, I was
So
just
we'll see.
I was just a bit disappointed with his performance.
Like, I see he's like tracking back games. I feel is good. Like he'll come and collect it and he'll link up and take it forward. But it's just he does things like he'll do something really good and then he'll follow up with something shit. And it's like, right, but you've gone past that man. It was like the run when he got caught by Partey. It's in his head. I'm thinking like, you can outrun anyone there. But it's in your head. It's like you're putting the brakes on. It's like you're hovering over the brakes while you're accelerating. Just go. Go into the box, not down the line. So it's just maybe decision making needs improving. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not one to judge. I'll never judge any players, and then I won't judge my own. So until there's been enough time.
Definitely. Yeah. I just thought maybe a little bit of an opportunity wasted because Zinchenko, as good as he has been this season, and as Disney was a player for City, defensively was always his question mark. So I thought that could be a prime opportunity.
Because like the big difference for me was Rashford gave it away a lot, but he was trying to do it. He was trying to get past the man because he did it and he got a goal from it. But he kept trying it, and he knew Ben White was on the yellow card, and he kept going for it. That's what I want to see on the other side as well. Make them think about it. Whereas that's what Arsenal have got. Shaw was being so respectful to Saka, letting him come in the box because he was like, he's just gonna go around me. And then similar things started to happen on the other side with Martinelli, and it showed what you could do with two good wingers. So that's what I'm hoping to see eventually.
Yeah. Let's talk about Arsenal now and how brilliant they have been this season, how good they were in this game as well. I think it's fair to say from my, I'll hear from you Gaskey in a moment, but I think from my perspective, it's fair to say that 3-2 flattered Manchester United in terms of how the game went. I thought that Arsenal probably, in terms of like the overall play, considering that the Rashford shot is a brilliant finish, and then even the Martinez header is a very lovely looped header. I'm not quite sure what United's overall expected goals would have been, for example, but I expect Arsenal's was significantly higher. De Gea was called into action a fair few times from Nketiah, so I do feel that Arsenal were worth their 90th minute winner in the end. So let's talk about how Arsenal were able to do that, shall we? Because this Arsenal team is sort of like a combination of like Pep City and Klopp's Liverpool in that they have the technical players of Man City, like Odegaard, for example, but then they also have the dynamism and the high energy of Klopp's Liverpool. Is like always running at you, pressing constantly. How good are this Arsenal side, Gaskey, and how impressed have you been with them, not only in this game but also this season?
Very impressed. Like when I asked you before about who is what's been the biggest shock, they're definitely up there with the biggest shocks because no one would have predicted at the start of the season that they would not just have this gap, but just to feel comfortable in every game they play. They don't treat any game differently. They take it game by game by game. And I think I said last week, I wouldn't really say there's any world class players in there. Players that you would be like, he's absolutely amazing. Like they are great, amazing players, but no one that you'd put that extra level. But they're all good in every position. It's hard to criticize any position. Usually, you play a game and you go, he's had a bad game today. I don't think anyone did for them. Even all through season, everyone's been half decent. Even two of the people that started yesterday were two people last summer that in Nketiah and Saka, they were like, you can go for all I care. And now you can't take them out the team. Yeah. So it shows that, again, I think everyone says it. What is proven Arsenal with Arteta is give them time.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Give them transfer windows. Give them budget. Tell them what they can have and let them decide and let them run the team. And then you show him what happens.
Yeah, and they scored some good goals. Again, you can question Wan-Bissaka's spatial awareness for the first goal. You can question Eriksen not closing down Saka for the second, but at the end of the day, they were very high quality goals scored by a high quality player. There was one bit of skill by Odegaard in particular where he sort of, I don't even know what the term is.
The fake pass he did from like the centre and Martinez had to clear it. That one.
No, it was. I think it led to an Nketiah chance or something. He was like running at United and he sort of flicked it with his left foot, like to the right, but then in the same motion, so it was like a scoop bam with the outside of the foot.
Yeah, no, I think it was that one. I think because he's running at the defense and he kind of like flicks it over the foot, and Martinez had to like cut the ball out under Saka. Yeah, because he kind of just while at full pace, he's managed to do that. It just shows the confidence as well. Yeah,
it would just be interesting to see what happens if and when, because this is the state of play with Arsenal. We're halfway through the season. They got 50 points. So if they repeat what they did in the first half of the season, they're going to finish on 100 points. So two things are going to happen. They're either going to be just as good or better, in which case they're going to get at least 100 points, or they aren't going to play as well in the second half of the season as in the first half of the season. And in which case, there's the question mark of whether City can make up that gap. Which do you foresee it being the case, Gaskey? Because we haven't really had an instance where this Arsenal side has come under like serious hardship in respect to like bad results. You know, they lose, they've lost once, and then they like got straight back to winning ways.
Well, I think it was when they drew against Newcastle, and I think City then won, and it reduced the gap. And then I think the City drew against Everton after, and it was like, well, okay, so City haven't capitalised on Arsenal dropping keep putting the pressure on. You got to feel like that pressure is going to come at some point. And I think they're going to lose, aren't they? They're going to lose another game. Like I think people keep saying they're going to play City twice. When they play City, I think it's in the space of 2 weeks as well.
Yes,
with the way it's looking. If they lose the first one of them, are they going to think we've got to play them again? What happens if we lose again? You know, or I think when it comes to that game, that first City Arsenal game, I feel like the winner will win it. I feel like the winner will use that momentum. So it'll be interesting by then. But like you said, they're either going to hit 100 or they're going to finish second. Yeah, I think it's going to be one or the other. Personally,
well, it's got to be. It's either hit 100 or don't have as good a second half of the season, because as it stands, they're on track.
Yeah.
And that'll be astounding if they were able to get 100 points. Especially you touched on it, given the quality. No disrespect to Arsenal, but the quality of the player is not. Let's compare it to the other Centurions, for example. In terms of the quality of the player, it's nowhere near the level.
I've compared it to since the 2000s. Think about all the squads that have won the Premier League, right? Would you say, obviously being respectful in terms of the worst being Leicester, would you say Arsenal's second worst? With all respect, you know, being worse saying like in terms of quality, there's a lot of better title winning teams. They must be low.
Yeah, and that makes it even more impressive, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's more of a compliment. It's more impressive that playing as a team is better than just dumping a load of players together, which Chelsea tried to do, but we'll see.
No, definitely. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens come the end of the season. It's such a shame that City Arsenal game got delayed due to the royal death situation. It would have been interesting to have them already played a game. Yeah. But we'll wait and see. In fact, City play Arsenal 3 times in like the space of a few weeks because they're playing the FA Cup this Friday as well. So that'll be interesting. I wonder whether Arsenal will try to like sort of like in their head, will they use that as a sort of like litmus test and of like, you know, where are we at with the City side?
Yeah, it depends what they go with, because City proved against Tottenham that they can rest players and still win. Whereas Arsenal have to commit 8 to 9 players a game to get their system. Yeah, you know.
It'll be interesting if they actually try to go for it or not. Yeah, I hope so, because I hope it's a good game. But and speaking of good games, this was a very entertaining game, that's for sure. Back and forth, really good battles all over the pitch, and a very interesting tactical dilemma from both managers. And and it showed how high quality both teams were. Even United, you know, they weren't at the same level as Arsenal for this game, but United were still
United for 70 minutes and then the legs went.
Yeah, but they were still in the match up until the 90th minute.
It was a very entertaining game. People were saying it does give you that City Liverpool vibes in terms of just quality. You know, it's just a quality game, end to end. You know, just a good football match.
I'd say what wasn't a good football match: Liverpool 0-0 Chelsea. I mean, apart from Mudryk coming on, who was an interesting addition to the fixture, it just goes to, I think you touched on it just before we started recording, Gaskey, it just shows that the dynamics and the sort, I know it's only a season, but like the sort of like power shift of Liverpool Chelsea is now a poor quality fixture, whereas Arsenal United is a high quality fixture. A couple of seasons ago, it would have been the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. You would that game you would think is like, oh, top four match, competition, Champions League coming up. It's January. We have, these are big games. Ninth against 10th?
Something like that.
And you could tell it was 9th against 10th. It gets TV because it's Liverpool against Chelsea, but I'd rather. I watched Leeds Brentford, and that was a better game.
Yeah, I just had no. I mean, I did watch. I had no real interest or desire to watch this game.
Apart from when Mudryk came on and the Slough goal at the start, there was nothing happened.
Yeah, and Mudryk does look interesting. We've criticised the transfer from a Chelsea perspective, but to be fair, I don't think we ever criticised the individual player. I think we just criticised the context.
Well, we can't criticise someone you've never seen play.
Well, exactly. But he looked really good. He sort of reminded me of like Leroy Sané in the way he moved and he picked up the ball.
Yeah.
You really liked him, didn't you?
He wants to do everything at pace, which is nice to see. Which is what I wish Antony would do.
Yeah.
So doing everything. He's got his pace, and was going to keep doing everything at pace, and he has the talent and the skill. He could have scored if he went with his left foot, but again, that's the age, isn't it?
Indeed. I'll be asking you a question later, Gaskey, about where Chelsea will finish, but that's not until NobGas. In other news, what was confirmed today, what's been inevitable since almost the start of the season, really. Everton have finally officially parted ways with Frank Lampard. Everton are joint bottom of the table. No one in the Premier League has less wins than Everton, and they lost against relegation rivals West Ham 2-0. I think that was at the London Stadium. It was away from home? Was it?
I think so.
Let me double. Yes. I don't want to get that. Let me just.
I think it was away from home. Yeah.
I think it was. Yes, indeed, it was at West Ham. But so Gaskey, I want your sort of prediction thoughts on who do you think is coming in to replace Lampard? What have you before that? First question. What have you made of Lampard's tenure at Everton and this season? And then finally, what are Everton going down?
Well, that's your first question. A mess. His just tenure is a mess. I'll go back to what I said last week. The players he's signing are players that are playing in teams who are targeting the same targets you have, but they've dropped to get better. You've gone relegated Tarkowski, who I would think Bournemouth would try and get in, that type of team. Connor Cody, who's been replaced at Wolves, who want to push up, try and get Europe. And those are the type of players that you're trying to sign. And those are not the right signings. I believe Danjuma's going to sign from Villarreal. So that's the type of signing you want. He's left Bournemouth to go and play in Europe. I think he was in the squad when they beat United in the Europa League. And he's now coming back on loan, and you never know. He could be a game changer. But that's the type of thing you need. So it's a tough one to call of how their season's going to end, and I've got a clue who'll come in. I think it's going to be someone like Sean Dyche, isn't it? So probably, I don't know. But it's not looking good, and especially with the new stadium and the amount of money that's being thrown about, it's not looking good.
Yeah, I think it was there was an article by The Guardian today which said something like, based on Everton's last three company accounts, they've made a £350 million loss. They're constructing a new stadium which is costing between 500 and 750 million pounds or something insane. Which sounds like a nice idea to get a lovely brand new stadium. If you're a big club like Everton, you want to increase your attendance. What you don't want to be is sidled with debt in the Championship. If you sidle with debt in the Premier League, you can get away with it. That's absolutely fine because the Premier League is big money. But the financial gulf between being in the Premier League and being in the Championship is astronomical.
Yeah, one of the teams fighting for the playoffs is Luton, and their stadium's a pack of shit. So that shows you though the difference. There's a huge gap, and that's why everyone treats the playoff final as it's an amazing match. It's a huge match because the amount of money you get for winning that game,
the most expensive match in football, they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that tells you why everyone wants that, because just even getting into the Premier League is just a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if they are relegated, I think I tweeted about this. The worry if you're an Everton fan is because no, I don't think any club is too big to fail. We've seen with like the likes of Leeds United in the past, with Blackburn, with Sunderland. I mean, they went to League One.
Here's the example. So you got Sunderland, Blackburn. How long ago was it when they got relegated?
Exactly.
Blackburn are now sniffing about, trying to get back up, and it's took them. And this is the first. I would think it's like the first season. And the last I remember Blackburn
2012 they got relegated.
2012 they got relegated. Even Sunderland must have been around then as well. It's like a decade till you're back.
Yeah.
So especially when you're that far off, because I feel like it'll happen with, well, look at Forest as well. But then I think it'll happen with like Bournemouth. These teams and Norwich who are going up and down. Eventually, I feel like they'll just drop off, and then you'll see them again in 10 years.
Yeah, and maybe you'd say, oh, Everton can bounce back; they'll be fine. But they're making hundreds of millions of pounds loss with the Premier League money. Now add on less money. Now add on new stadium debts. There's a genuine possibility that Everton
might can't sign players. Yeah. So they're not going to be able to sign players. So they're going to have to you're going to have to bring you through. Contracts, you're going to have ask players to, if you want to, you can stay for us, but you're going to have to take wage cuts. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute mess.
It sounds like a Big Sam job if ever I heard it, or a Tony Pulis job.
It sounds like, it does sound like a Big Sam job. Tony Pulis.
I know, yeah. I don't even know if he's still going, Tony Pulis.
Neither do I.
I'm going to find out. I wonder if it's like managing anyone like the Championship or something that I'm just like not aware of.
With his cap on. He's got a room just for his caps.
So he is currently managing a team. He is managing Sheffield Wednesday, who are in League One.
And they beat... is he managing Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah.
They beat Newcastle in the FA Cup, didn't they?
Well, there you go. And I tell you what, Gaskey, they're currently second in the table.
The manager, was he?
It says here, Tony Pulis, Sheffield Wednesday.
I watched that game. I don't remember seeing him once. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Let me double check now. Former footballer who last managed Sheffield Wednesday. Oh, sorry, I've lied to you.
So now he's jobless.
Oh, right. I thought...
I was going to say, I'm sure I don't remember seeing him.
Right, but... so because it said Sheffield Wednesday 2020. I was like, oh, that must mean 2020 to present.
So there you go. Everton's Tony Pulis' Everton team.
So that was totally wrong. So yeah, it says whoever Sheffield Wednesday owner is described the appointment of Tony Pulis as a mistake. Clearly, that wasn't the right decision.
There we go.
But I tell you what, the way Everton are run in a shambolic fashion, that would be the most
perfect man.
That'd be the most Everton signing, wouldn't it?
Oh no, you want the most Everton manager would be someone who's high profile. That's going to cost them another fortune just to get him.
Steven Gerrard.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. No, I think apparently he's going to do Poland national job.
That's such a weird... What?
Apparently. It's him and Matty Cash running the place.
That's so bizarre.
I don't know the truth in that, but I read that.
I hope that happens. But yeah, there you go. Everton are in a bit of a mess and a shambles. I'll tell you what else is a shambles, Gaskey. This outrageous argument and sort of like line of inquiry going round that Erling Haaland makes Manchester City worse. This is sort of like came out just before City's games against Spurs and Wolves, which City did win after their defeat against United. Spurs beating Spurs 4-2 in a very thrilling comeback, and then Wolves 3-0. We were not going to talk about the Spurs bottle job because we talked about Spurs bottling stuff in like last week's podcast. If you want to give that a watch, but just very briefly on the games, then we'll talk about. There. What's that? Sorry,
cheeky dig there. Spurs.
So we'll just briefly touch on the games. So we'll talk about the Haaland situation. Yeah, so Haaland against Wolves, hat trick. Not really much to talk about. Wolves are really bad, and then the Spurs. City, I thought, had control of the game, and then 2 mistakes, 2-0, but then Spurs capitulated, and Alvarez is really good, and Mahrez is amazing, and Haaland scored a goal as well.
Lloris is in the mud.
Oh, yeah, God, yeah, again. And Guardiola shouted at his players, and shouted at everyone, it seems, but I think he's got the reaction he wanted. City against Wolves was a much improved performance. But so let's talk about the Haaland one in particular then, Gaskey.
Yeah.
I think this is a lazy, borderline brain-dead argument that Haaland makes Man City worse. What are your thoughts?
it gives off a smell of jealousy to me. When they announced the signing of Haaland, right, and everyone was like, "Oh great, here we go, City just got better." You could tell there was people out there that wanted to be. He's going to fail. I'm going to prove he's going to fail, and everyone's going to laugh at me. But watch it when he fails. And they're nitpicking at look how many touches he's had.
Oh,
look
God,
at this.
Yeah.
They're nitpicking at everything because they're jealous that he's doing so well and they've been proved wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's on 25 goals. The guy's going to hit 50 at this rate. If we're going off the same rate as Arsenal in 100 points, he's going to score 50.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. So, right, City have to play a different way with Haaland up front. Mm-hmm. He's a different type of striker. Yeah, but it's good. It takes time. It's a different style, but it will come. It's like any player. You've got to learn how to play in their way. But Haaland's showing how good he is by the fact that he scored 25 goals already in a league he's never played in a completely different style of football. Because the way Dortmund play was just he's going to run through the gaps. Mm-hmm. The way City play is possession based, and he's just going to go and tap it in a different way, and he can do it. Mm-hmm. So people just need to shut up. Need to shut up.
Just for I don't know the exact stats, but I believe that Haaland had more touches against Man United than any other team he's played against this season. Something like that. Didn't score a goal, whatever. I think it may be like over 30. I don't know the exact number. For context, he had 16 touches against Wolves and he scored 3 goals. So I really hate it when people talk about touches because they only talk about touches, Gaskey, when he doesn't score.
Yeah. Or when teams lose.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird to me.
Exactly. But that's what a striker does. That type of striker, that's his job. His job is to put the ball in the net. As long as he does that, he's not going to score in every single game he plays. Like, no player can score in every game. It does not work like that. So, he's going to have a lot less touches with the way City play. But as long as he puts the ball in the net, I don't think no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
So
it's so odd because I think to me it just goes to show, as I say, the lazy sort of like reactionary nature of football media and football fans. Because at the start of the season, let's go further back. Last 2 seasons, what was the narrative? City need a striker. City need an out-and-out number 9. They need someone who can finish chances. So what does City do? They bring in.
What was it? They tried to get Kane. Yeah. Tried to get Ronaldo.
Yes.
They get the best young striker in the world, and they're still not good enough. So it doesn't matter, does it? 25 goals is not good enough, apparently.
Exactly. And if you look at the data, Haaland is, in terms of you compare all the other top players, if you think like Ronaldo, R9, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Luis Suarez, Alan Shearer, none of them were scoring at the rate Haaland did when they were his age. So based on his age, he is objectively the greatest goal scorer in football history so far, based on his age relative to everyone else. It's about,
and what is it? He has to, at this current rate, I think, what is it? He has to do it for 20 years to break into Ronaldo and Messi. That tells you how good they are. But there's no reason why he can't. He's doing it at a faster rate now, which means he can decline slower if he keeps going at this rate. So
exactly. And at the start of the season,
interesting.
At the start of the season, when City are winning games, ain't no one talking about Haaland's touches and as soon as City happen to go through a less good patch, and they it must be because Haaland's in the team. He's changed it. City aren't as good. It must be because of Haaland. It's like, do you want to watch the games, guys?
How about you also take into effect that Ake's playing a lot more as well. So Diaz is playing less because he's been injured. These other things are changing.
Yeah,
it's not just that.
And De Bruyne is missing 5-yard passes. Like there's more going on than just we've added a striker. Yeah. So
exactly like obviously I know he wasn't this weekend, but the Manchester derby, De Bruyne gave it away a lot. It's not like him.
Exactly.
That's not Haaland's fault.
Yeah.
So
I know. It just. I don't know if Haaland scored like maybe 8 goals, maybe I could buy it as now. The man is going to break the goal scoring records this season. Like no. He's already broke. He's already got. If it was the last 5 years, he's already got the golden boot, hasn't he? Yes.
He's already broken the last 5 years or something like that.
Yes, and he's 9 Premier League goals off the all-time record for most Premier League goals in a season. And by the way, everyone talked about...
That's more games.
Exactly. Everyone was like, oh, you can't talk about the Andy Cole, Alan Shearer record. You got to talk about the Mo Salah record because it's more games. It's not fair. Well, Haaland's going to break both goal records anyway, no matter how many games are in a season.
I wonder what should we play a prediction? What's the argument going to be when he does? Because it's looking inevitable.
Anyone would score that many goals for City. That would be the argument. The argument will be, well, any striker would score that many.
Oh, he plays for City, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he barely touches it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but how many assists does he have? God.
That's what it'll be. I mean, goal assists though? No assists.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous. And he's 13 off equaling the record for a Premier League player in all competitions, which is held by Van Nistelrooy and Salah. But yeah, so that's the Haaland makes City worse argument. Very moronic. That is the roundup of the of this week's matches.
It's all here and it's all football, all the time.
Okay, Gaskey, I've got a game for you.
Ooh.
This game is called Has Haaland Scored More? Okay, these are the rules. It's a higher or lower system. So, vibe. So, this is about Premier League goals in case of Haaland. So, Haaland has scored 25 Premier League goals this season. Okay? I'm going to give you a name of something, and you are going to tell me whether you think they've scored... No, you're going to tell me, has Haaland scored more or less? So say more or less.
Is this in their whole career?
No, this is this season. In the Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Premier League. Okay. Well, if it's a club, it's this season. If it's a player, it's all time.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So, has Haaland scored more than Wolves?
Yes.
Correct, Wolves on 12. Has Haaland scored more than West Ham?
Yes.
Correct, 17. Has Haaland scored more than Chelsea?
Ooh.
Remember, this is Premier League goals, not overall.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes.
Chelsea on 23, well done. Has Haaland scored more than Mason Mount?
Yes, got to have.
No, Mount 27.
Whoa! I've been baited.
Has Haaland scored more than Leeds United?
In the league? In the league. Yes.
Leeds 26.
When did they score 26 goals?
Has Haaland scored more than Michael Carrick?
No.
He has. Carrick 24.
Carrick's only scored 24 goals in his whole Premier League career.
Premier League, yeah. Has Haaland scored more goals than Nice? This is French league goals.
This is a random question.
So if it's a foreign club, that's their league goals to Haaland's Premier League goals this season.
I was going to say. No.
He has. Nice has scored 22.
Bullshit.
Has Haaland scored more than Bukayo Saka?
Yes.
Saka 24. Well done. Has Haaland scored more than Man United?
Ooh, in the league. I'm going to say no.
You'd be right, United 32. But how about Aston Villa?
Yes.
23. Tammy Abraham?
No.
26, well done. Cardiff City?
Cardiff City. No. Yes.
Yes, 21. Villarreal?
Yes.
21. Charlie Austin?
No.
34. Jesse Lingard?
Yes.
29.
It's on a run.
Has Haaland scored more than Divock Origi?
Yes.
He has, 22. Borussia Dortmund?
Yes.
No, 29.
Oh,
how about Michu?
Oh, was he around for more than one? He scored. Yes.
Yes, 20. How about Atletico Madrid?
Oh, he's got to score more than them. They just scored fuck all.
He hasn't. They've 27.
Really?
Yeah.
Surprised for that.
Hoffenheim?
Yes.
Yes, 23. And finally, so these are the two bottom teams in Serie A. I'm going to butcher the pronunciations of one of them. Cremonese, plus Sampdoria.
Right. You're just gonna be a knobhead here because the only reason you do that is if he has. I'm gonna say yes.
Yes.
What they scored?
21 collectively. Cremonese haven't got a win yet in Syria. And then the last question, Gaskey. Higher or lower? Haaland Man City hat-tricks in the Premier League or Everton wins this season in the Premier League?
The hat-tricks.
That is correct.
4-3.
Yes, well done.
Oh, look at me go.
You did quite, I think you got most of those right, to be fair.
I thought I was right.
Yeah, well done.
Right there.
But that was, has Haaland scored more? Gaskey, what do you think of that game?
That was an interesting game. Mix it up a bit next time. Yeah, let's do ones like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
We love that.
Every football team will be playing football several times and in various combinations.
Right. This podcast is actually longer than I thought it is, so we might have to rush this next segment. But this was a question on the last NobGas, and it's a Big Six draft 11. So I've got a wheel of destiny here. So I'm going to spin the wheel, and then that will give us a team of the Big Six English clubs, and then Gaskey and I've got to take it in turns and build a team accordingly. So do you understand the rules, Gaskey?
Yes. So are we picking any position?
Yeah, any position you want.
So we both pick at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Right, cool.
Would you like to go first, or shall I go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
You spin.
So I've spun the wheel, and every time there's
Is it any formation as well?
Any you want, yeah? Oh no, you're going first, did you say?
Is it Bournemouth?
No, it's Big Six.
Oh, you're just doing Big Six, sorry.
Okay, so Man City.
Haaland.
and just for the avoidance of doubt, shall we make it based on this season?
In terms of
how players performed this season?
Yeah. We'll go off that. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're having Haaland, I mean, who's been City's second best player? I'd make a case it might be Grealish, but I've got to go De Bruyne because John Stones. Now De Bruyne's it's still as good as Odegaard's been. De Bruyne has still been the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. So I'm going to go with KDB. So that's a good start.
And you can pick first this time.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Draft fashion.
So up next is it Arsenal or Chelsea? It is. I forgot it was just an Arsenal. It slipped over to Chelsea. Oh God, who's even been good for them this season?
You have to pick Mudryk. They played 10 minutes.
I'll tell you what, I'm tempted. Because the other option is I guess Thiago Silva, who's been okay.
He's consistent.
Yeah. I'm going to go Mudryk because it's fun. Yeah, I like that. If it's based on this season, he's been Chelsea's best player.
Oh, go with Liverpool, please. I've got to pick Chelsea now.
You've got to pick a Chelsea player now. Yeah.
Oh God. Reece James has been better and he's not even played. He's been injured.
He's been injured, yeah.
Oh. I think it's someone who doesn't play because he might as well sit on the bench.
Are you making a note of your team, by the way? I'm making a note.
Yeah,
of mine.
I am. I'm going to say.
Thinking who else has been all right for Chelsea? There must be someone that's been good.
I think it's Sterling.
Yeah,
it's not been too bad.
He was all right when he was fit. He's just injured right now, I guess.
Yeah, or Kovacic.
Maybe, yeah. That could be a good option.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to go Kovacic.
Or Zachariah, whoever you want to pronounce it.
I haven't seen much when he's played. See, Kovacic, because when he came on against United, he kind of changed the game.
That's a good shout.
We'll go with Kovacic.
Right. Okay, we're spinning it again. It's your turn. Gaskey. This is wheelofnames.com, by the way, and it is Man United. Gaskey,
United. We shall go. I'm going to go with Rashford.
That's absolutely fair enough, and I'm going to go with Martinez.
He's going for not big enough to play in the Prem.
As my left-sided centre-half. So we've got Arsenal, Liverpool, and Spurs. Please give me Arsenal. Please give me Arsenal. And I get Arsenal, and I'm going to... I mean, to be fair, you're going to get good plays either way. I'm going to go with Saka.
Okay, I'm going to take Odegaard.
That's a really good shout, yeah. Lovely.
That was easy.
Yeah. You can get anyone with Arsenal, really. Spurs. Oh, right. Oh, wait. Oh, no. You get to pick first. Oh, no.
Oh, but I've already got Haaland up front.
Oh. Okay, good.
So you get the inevitable.
Oh,
who do I pick? I don't even know who to. Can I pass? Oh no, I know a pick. Kulusevski.
Oh, that's a good shout. Yes, good. I thought you were going to play a 4-4-2 then, but thank God, yes, I would take. I'll take Harry Kane.
I've got to stick with my classic 4-3-3.
Excellent. Right. So I've now got my front three sorted. So obviously the last one is Liverpool. Might
Who's
go.
picking? Do I pick first?
I'm picking first this time.
I
might go Alisson. You know, he's been quite good, hasn't he? It's either Alisson or. Actually, who is it?
Pick Trent.
It's Alisson. Can you imagine? No, I think the only answer is it's got to be Alisson. Based on this season, I don't want any Liverpool defenders.
No, I'm sure. I'm going to go with the only player that I've not commented on as being shit, Robertson.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Right, let me reset this thing. So we want Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and Spurs. Right, so yeah, so because there's only 11 slots, there will be like, you know, one.
I think it would have been more fair to have Newcastle in this and not
Probably, yeah.
Chelsea.
But it was asked for Big Six draft 11.
Oh, okay. Right.
So you next. You've got Chelsea, Gaskey. I promise I'm not cheating, by the way.
I'm gonna go Thiago Silva.
Good shout. Yeah, I'm struggling. I mean, I got cheeky with the Mudryk one. And you've already taken Kovacic. Have you taken? Sorry, you just took Thiago Silva, didn't you?
Well, have you got Thiago Silva?
No.
Oh, right.
I got Mudryk. You've taken Silva though, haven't you?
Yeah.
God.
In the mud.
Right. So I need a fullback, not a Chelsea. Centre half, or a midfielder. I'm not.
You have to go with Zachariah.
I'm not.
Who else are you gonna pick?
I'm not seeing enough of that that Badashile guy.
He hasn't played. Yeah, he's not playing enough of that.
And he's left-footed anyway. I've already got my left side.
Injured Reece James with one leg.
Oh God, it might have to be. You know.
Mendy. What about Mendy?
I've already got Alisson.
Oh yeah.
Jorginho. But Jorginho's shit, isn't he?
Jorginho's boring.
Yeah, I'm going to have, even though Reece James has been injured, he's probably been one of Chelsea's best players, so I'm going to go Reece James. I don't really care. It's got to be done, sadly.
Safe bet.
I'm up next, aren't I? Right, I want City so I can have Rodri, please. Not Liverpool again. No, please squeeze onto City. Oh, God, right, it is Liverpool, okay.
Oh, no!
God.
You swine.
I don't even know who I want.
There's no one.
Fabinho's been dog this season, so I don't want him. I don't want. I don't think Thiago's been that good. I'm probably going to go Trent. I've already got Reece James. I'm probably going to have to go Canate. I think.
You bitch. I'm going to take Trent now.
I'm going to go Canate.
Right. Do we go free at the back? Oh no. Oh no.
God, why can't I got City, man?
Oh no. This is not good.
What positions do you need?
I need a midfielder, a centre back, a right back, and a keeper.
Yeah, I've taken all the options, to be honest.
I don't want to take Trent.
If you take Trent, then my team wins by default.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a joker. I'm gonna take. My God, this is an awful game. Can we restart?
Well, I was going to say, do you want to do it so that, because there are 12, there were 12 teams overall, so do you want to do it when we get to the 12th spin, we can swap in one of the players with the final team? Do you want that as an option?
Yeah, right. Well, say what we'll do. Yeah, what we'll do, right? I'm gonna put Matip in.
Okay.
Right, and we'll do a 12 spin, and then depending on who you get, the team you get, you can decide if you want to take someone else.
Yes, exactly. Great.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Just so we can
I'll
get rid of
Matip in for now. He's the best of a bad bunch.
You're picking next, aren't you?
Yeah, who we get?
Heart City.
Well, do you know what? I'm gonna let you have Rodri.
I could get Casemiro.
That's what I'm thinking, and I need a keeper still. No, I'm going to take Edison. You can have him.
Oh, okay.
I need a keeper. Who else do I pick? It's Ramsdale or Edison. So
yeah, City. So I need a left back. I'm not going to go like Cancelo. I need a central midfielder. And, it's got to be Rodri. The position I need is defensive midfield. It's got to be Rodri. Right, there we go. Okay. We've just got Arsenal, United, and Spurs left. I've no idea who I'm going to pick for Spurs. And it is Man United. I'm next, aren't I?
Yeah.
I could go for a cheeky double pivot of Casemiro or Rodri.
Is that Luke Shaw?
Guess it might have to be Luke Shaw. Yeah, actually, good idea. Yeah,
I'll take Casemiro.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. And last team,
yeah. And then
God, do not be Tottenham. Oh my God, do not be Tottenham.
Oh, come on,
I can't take Emerson Royale.
Oh, no, it is Arsenal.
Oh, thank God. I'll take Ben White.
Ben White. Okay, so I need a central midfielder. That's perfect, so I'm going to take Xhaka. And then the last one is Spurs. So are there any...
do you know what? For me, it's either Matip or Romero, probably. Who else plays centre-back for Spurs?
No one good.
No, it's Matip or Romero.
I think it's much of a muchness, to be honest, this season. Maybe I'd take Romero, but I wouldn't care either way.
Ooh. I'm going to go Romero.
Okay.
I think he probably edges it.
Yeah, and this season, I'm not going to go Son for this season. I'm not going to go Bentancur because I've got Rodri, Xhaka, KDB.
It's difficult, isn't it? There's not really anyone you can go for.
I'm sorry, Spurs, you have been rejected. Okay, Gaskey, shall I read out my team first and then we can let the chat decide?
Yeah, go for it.
The comments
decide?
Go for it. Right, so I've got Alisson, Reece James, Konate, Martinez, Shaw, Rodri, Xhaka, De Bruyne, Saka, Kane, and Mudryk. I'm not going to lie, I don't think there's any weakness in that team.
Nice. So then for me, we've got Edison, Ben White, Romero, Thiago Silva, Robertson, Casemiro, Kovacic, Odegaard, Kulusevski, Haaland, Rashford. 2
very good teams. Let us know in the comments, who do you think is the best team? Gaskey, but who's got the better team, you or me?
I think you edge it. My defense is very, very like a Ryvita. And Casemiro's got a big job in his hands in this team.
Yeah, so. I'd say for my team, obviously question marks over the injured Reece James. But apart from that, in my defense, my midfield is solid with Rodri, Xhaka, De Bruyne.
I think getting one of your Liverpool/Chelsea out of the way with your keeper was a winner.
That's what I had to do immediately because I don't want basically anyone else in those clubs.
Yeah, get him out. Yeah.
But there we go, guys. Hopefully that was the Big Six Draft 11. Let us know who you thought won that one.
Keep them like them little mini games. So that's nice for us. Quite fun.
Yeah, keep them coming, guys.
It is impossible to keep track of all the football, but your best chance is here.
NobGas is next. Gaskey Jack simply asks, where would Chelsea finish this season?
8th.
Wow. Okay, who's finishing from 5th to 7th?
I think so. You put Newcastle in over Chelsea in terms of the top 6.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool will move up.
Okay.
I think they'll finish 6th. And then I think I don't know what. Oh no, yeah, it's 8th. I think I'm feeling Brighton in 7th.
Ooh, I like that.
Feeling Brighton. I like to be a bit controversial.
I like that. I'm just going to consult the table just to see how many points off they are. Yeah, so currently they are. I mean, to be fair, they're only 4 points off 5th. In fairness, but they would have to turn it around significantly. I'm going to say Mudryk will make the difference. I'm going to say they finish 6th. We'll go with 6th. So what is that, Europa League?
Yeah.
Something like that. Jack's a Chelsea fan, by the way. KX asks, do you call it red sauce or tomato sauce?
Neither. I call it ketchup.
Yeah, same. I call it ketchup. Or tomato ketchup at a push.
It's like if you go to a restaurant, do you want any sauce? Have you got any ketchup?
Yeah, I don't say, do you have some red sauce?
I don't say red sauce or tomato sauce.
Yeah, because I'm not a paedophile. So I wouldn't say that.
God, KX, you're such a pedo.
Unless, I don't know, like tomato, because tomato sauce means ketchup, doesn't it?
Yeah, tomatoes. Yeah, but then when someone says tomato sauce, I think of it on spaghetti or pasta.
Yeah, if someone says red sauce to me, that's more like a bolognese sort of vibe.
Actually, no, red sauce. See, if someone said red or brown or red sauce, I'd think
I
ketchup.
guess you're right, yeah.
My first thought is ketchup.
I guess you're right. But yeah, you're right. If they said tomato sauce,
I think spaghetti, pasta and spaghetti.
On a pasta dish, yeah. So neither, to be honest. Will asks, Will the Borough fan, asks, who is the better player, Saka or Foden? And he wants it on this season and overall. So this season, obviously, Saka's having a better season. Like that's not in question. Like Foden's had a bit of a post-World Cup.
They're different players, aren't they? Like one's a more classic winger, and then the other's more of a inverted forward in a way.
One's
Yeah, I'd say Saka this season, but I'd probably say Foden overall. I think Foden's got a higher ceiling in terms of how far he can go. So I'd probably say Saka this season, Foden overall.
Okay, I agree. Mo says, what we'll say about that though is if Saka has another excellent season next season, and let's say Foden doesn't sort himself out.
It's about consistency because Foden and Saka have similar careers. They come through the youth at a young age. They've hit, they've a slow start and they're hitting the ground running. Foden's been consistent. Saka's got to hit that consistency.
Yes. So as I say, if he does next season as well, then I think I probably would change my...
Ask the question in a year's time, Will.
Yeah, but right now, I agree with you. Foden's I think also probably doesn't help that Foden's being played out of position.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what happens if and when he plays in midfield. Mo asks, I think this is because Kane is closing in on 200 Premier League goals. Kane or Drogba? I don't know if he wants the best version of them or just let's say as an overall player, shall we?
I'd probably say Kane.
I think I agree. If it was like what's the best version of the player, I'd go Drogba.
Oh no, I think Drogba at his all-time best is unstoppable, but I feel like Kane can do it. When your team's crap, Kane can just pull it out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And I think with where he's at, I think Kane probably edges. It's another close one, but I think Kane edges it.
Yeah, certainly. If we're having a conversation about overall and the consistency season after season after season, Kane rarely has a bad season, does he?
Oh no, I mean Spurs have a bad season, he doesn't. So there you go.
Exactly. And then these are good questions, by the way, guys. Thank you for these.
Yeah.
And then the final question from DR, non-football one. Would you prefer to earn 500k a year without being famous, or 1 million a year but you're mega famous?
No, 500k a year. Oh no,
I'd agree.
I'd hate to be mega famous. I would hate to have your bank account's double, but you can't even go out without wearing a cap and sunglasses.
Yeah, I feel like it would be sort of quite novel at first. Be like, I'm being recognized and stopped in the street all the time, and that it goes crazy restaurants.
You get sick of it.
Yeah, but
500k a year, you still live in a nice area where the mega famous people live, but you're an average Joe. Whereas the million, eventually you just be like, oh, leave me alone.
Yeah, and also 500k a year. I mean that's enough.
Plenty, I mean, you're just being greedy if you got a million.
Yeah, how that's why I don't understand footballers who make hundreds of thousands a year. What are they buying? Are they buying a yacht every week? So
God knows.
Speaking of being mega famous, Gaskey, I was recently recognised in the public actually when I was at the gym, and someone came up to me. I didn't catch his name. I apologise for that. I should have got it, but he came up to me and said, "Excuse me, is this you?" And he showed me a video I did. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big fan." I was like, "Oh, that's amazing."
Oh, you got a million a year yet? Mega famous.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm already mega famous, but I just need the millions of quid. But that was really nice. So if you're watching this, shout out you. If you see me getting in the gym,
shout out you.
He was a City fan.
Doesn't remember his name.
No, he didn't tell me his name. He didn't tell me his name. And we just chatted about the Manchester derby because it was the day after the match because he's a City fan. But yeah, that was good. Yeah, so really good questions, guys. If you do want to submit questions, you need to sign up to the Patreon. The link is in every single YouTube video description. You get lots of lovely perks like exclusive videos. You get to ask me questions on the podcast. You get to come onto the live streams and more and more and more.
It will never be finally decided who has won the football.
We were going to preview next week's matches, but I'm not going to lie, Gaskey, they're pretty meh. City play Arsenal in the FA Cup and Forest play United in the League Cup semi-final.
I mean, United should be winning the League Cup, and then City Arsenal's just to be interested to see how the game goes.
Exactly. So shall we just move on to the greatest quiz show on the internet?
Let's go to
Does anyone go the way? There's got to be a way.
It's BallBusters. It's BallBusters, the greatest quiz show on the old internet. And Gaskey, just while I'm reading this out, can you do what you did last week, where you whip out the comments section from the last video, so you can pick a winner for me?
Let me whip it up.
Beautiful, thank you. Whilst you're doing that, I'll just explain the rules and I'll read out the answers from last week. So I give you 3 cryptic clues of a footballer, past or present. You've got to provide your answer in the YouTube comment section and let me know who you think those footballers are. The winner receives an exclusive role in the Discord server, and you get Nob coins, and you also get Eternal Glory. And it's also a bit of fun, see if you can figure out what's going on in my brain. And also, I've been accused of making them too hard recently, so this week's clues are much easier. So I want everyone to be in all of them immediately. But this week's clues and answers were CA, the brass instrument and assault rifle are going to the school disco. That was tuba akpom, because it's a tuba, that's the brass instrument. It's an AK, an AK-47, an AK is the assault rifle, and the school disco is a prom. So it's a tuba, AK, prom, tuba, akprom, tuba, akpom. That's how that one works. That's a brilliant one, to be honest. Gaskey helped me with these 3, by the way. And they're all fantastic. No, they're good. The next one was CE, and that was Walkers and Lays. Got 2 under par. What are Walkers and Lays? They're both crisps. What is 2 under par? Well, it's clearly golf. In golf, that's an eagle. So it's crisp eagle, Chris Eagles.
Not Chris. Don't get confused with Chris Beagle.
I guess that could have worked as well, yeah. And then the final one was LD. Over there's an evening meal, hurrah. What's an evening meal? A dinner. What's another way of saying hurrah? Yay. So Luca is look, a. Over there's an evening meal. Look, a dinner. Yay. Look, a dinner, yay. Luca dinner, yay. Luca dinner, yay. That's how my brain works.
You've got to get in the Nobbins head.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do.
Gaskey, how many winners did we
have? From what I can see, we have 3.
Wonderful, Gaskey. Do you want
3
to
winners.
Randomly pick a winner for me, please? It was Musty last week. Who is it today?
I'm going to mouse around. We're going to go, It is Jack, I believe, Jack?
Oh, Jack. Excellent stuff.
JJVCKK. Jack, yes.
Wonderful stuff. Well done, Jack. Another winner. And make sure to sort out your role later and make sure your knob coins go to you. But these are the clues for next week, if you guys want to take part. MH. My friend's big American SUV. Clue number 2. RG. The mutant turtle and dead WWE star have had a baby. RG. And the final one, YS. In the hottest season, I grow vegetables that look like sweet potatoes. That's YS. Gaskey's already got all of these, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. These are nice. These are relatively fair, so no complaints.
Exactly, yeah. So I want everyone to work hard on them, think about them, and submit your answer in a YouTube comment. But Gaskey, that's another podcast done.
It is.
I think we had a very, very lovely chat there.
Very fun time.
Of course. Not feeling too hard done by in respect of the Arsenal win. You're pretty chill.
No,
pretty mellow.
Disappointed. I'm glad that I'm disappointed and not angry, because in the past I would be very angry because they're just shit. But there's bits to enjoy, and that's what I'm happy about. Hopefully they can go win a trophy this season. I mean, United have now got 10 games in the next 32 days.
Dear me.
Which is ridiculous, but that's what you get for not winning Europa League group. But it is what it is. So hopefully they can go win a trophy, and I could be happy.
There we go. That would be lovely, wouldn't it be, for Gaskey? Gaskey's been Gaskey. Goodbye, Gaskey.
Goodbye.
And I've been Nobbins. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you next time.